Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third and final video. Going to have a look at the weather next 10 to 14 days for today's third and final video. So day 10 will take us pretty much to the last day of August, actually, 31st of August. We'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles running to around a couple of weeks. That'll take us obviously into the first week of September. And we'll have a look at the CFS-V2 for September at the end of the video. So two videos released so far today. The European Outlook, have your detailed look at weather day by day for Europe for the next week to 10 days. And also, we released JMA Friday, of course, always on a Friday. Got your month-head look-head, and that's quite an interesting watch today. Some rather different sort of ideas emerging for September, perhaps, which we usually consider to be like an extension of summer a lot of the time. A lot of the time we think of September, especially the early part of it, as just being like a continuation of summer with a lot of dry and warm weather. But JMA Friday today suggests something a little bit different, possibly, for the start of this September. But have a look at that anyway. Don't let any cats out of the bag for anybody that hasn't seen JMA Friday. So have a look at it and see what it's showing. Now, before we do anything else, we're going to start off in the tropical Atlantic. So it's all happening. It is all happening in the tropical Atlantic. Look at this. We now have Tropical Storm Laura. Just here, got Tropical Storm Laura just there. We also have Tropical Depression 14 just here. And we've got a disturbance area over there just exiting the coast of Africa. Let's have a look at that first of all. So that's Disturbance 1 with a 20% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours and a 40% chance in the next 5 days. I won't read everything that they're saying about this, but we're just going to have to wait and see how that plays out. There's a lot to see about that. The link to National Hurricane Center is in the description with a video at YouTube, and we also link to it on the links page at GavsWeatherVids.com, so you can have a look at that for yourself. But there's a lot to read, and we've got a lot to discuss, so I won't read all of that. But basically, there's like a growing chance that that might become a tropical cyclone in the next 5 days, but a low chance for the next 2. Let's look at 14 next then, just here. That is Tropical Depression 14. Giving maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure of 1,008 millibars, moving west-northwestwards at 12 miles per hour. Let's click on 14. See what 14 is predicted to do. So 14 is predicted to become a hurricane. So any time now, I mean, when you watch this video, it could even have happened. Any time now, Tropical Depression 14 will become Tropical Storm Marco, I think. And then it's going to move northwards, and by the start of next week into the Gulf of Mexico, becoming a Category 1 hurricane. And then this Category 1 hurricane is forecast to slam into the Gulf Coast, somewhere like between Louisiana and Texas on the Gulf Coast as a Category 1 hurricane. So a Category 1 hurricane is forecast to move through the Gulf of Mexico and slam onto the Gulf Coast, somewhere between Louisiana and Texas. Obviously, there's a wide margin there, but could get hit as like the direct impact in that cone area. So that's what 14 is forecast to do. Let's have a look at Tropical Storm Laura, though. Let's see what Tropical Storm Laura is doing. So Tropical Storm Laura is giving maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure of 1,008 millibars, moving westwards at 21 miles per hour, moving quite fast. Let's click on Laura and see what Laura is forecast to do. So Laura is also forecast to become a hurricane. So Tropical Storm Laura is going to move like through the Caribbean over the weekend and then head up towards Florida through like the beginning of next week. So that's the position of, by this point, Category 1 Hurricane Laura, just off the coast of Florida, moving into the Gulf, and then slamming the Gulf Coast of the United States, somewhere between like Florida, the Florida Panhandle there, or Louisiana there. And that's in the middle of next week as well. So potentially, the Gulf Coast of America is going to have 2 hurricanes. They are Category 1, 2 Category 1 hurricanes hitting the Gulf Coast, slamming into the Gulf Coast consecutively through the middle of next week. This is quite remarkable. I'm sure it has happened, but I would have thought it's quite unusual to get 2 hurricanes slamming the Gulf Coast of the States in at the same time, like it's going to be the middle of next week for both of these to hit. So we've got this one hitting that area, and then we've got I should have got 2 pages up, really, should I? But then we've got like 14, which will become Marco, hitting that area. So going to hit that sort of area, and this one is going to hit that area at the same time. That is very unusual. Very, very unusual. I mean, it must have happened, but I can't remember that happening for quite a long while. If anybody knows when the last time was that this did happen, that there was like 2 hurricanes hitting the Gulf Coast of the States at the same time, then please let me know in the comments. But it must be pretty unusual, I would have thought. So they're in for a rough old time of it next week down on the Gulf Coast of the States. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And of course, these are Category 1 predicted, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't become stronger than that. So these things can take on a life of their own. It can very quickly become, you know, they can very quickly power up at this time of year, particularly as they move over the hot sort of seas of the Gulf of Mexico. So we'll have to keep a very close eye on this and see what's going on with these 2 hurricanes potentially hitting the Gulf Coast at the same time. But yeah, it's all happening. And then of course we've got that other disturbance area off Africa. We need to wait and see what's going to happen with that one too. We was always expecting this. You know, was always expecting this to be a big season for tropical storms and the hurricanes. So far we've had a lot of tropical storms. We haven't had that many hurricanes, but it is still pretty early. It's only 21st of August, and we're like already up to like L and M in terms of the names. And we're only up to 21st of August, so we've got September, which is like peak hurricane season, and October, which is usually very active as well, still to go. And so yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But this is shaping up to be you know, quite a disturbing time, I think, for that Gulf Coast of America, with 2 potential hits from 2 hurricanes at the same time. Now, we've got pretty wild weather ourselves back home. Nothing like a hurricane, but we have got some pretty wild winds today. These are the latest wind gusts from XC Weather. So here we go. Our maximum gust at the moment is 60 miles an hour, just there across the northwest of England. But you see, generally, north and west England, Wales, southwest England, up the Irish southwest Scotland, very, very windy there, 60 mile an hour gusts definitely occurring, and also very well inland, a long way inland. We've got pretty strong winds as well. For example, like Cranfield, right there in the East Midlands, 33 to 46 mile an hour gusts, around 40 mile an hour gusts there. And even on the eastern side of the country, you've got Wainfleet, sort of 36 to 52. We've got Marham again, East Anglia, 30 to 45. These are very, very strong gusts of wind, particularly at this time of year. Again, emphasise, only 21st of August. So what a bizarre summer this has been. I mean, it's baking hot at the beginning of the month. Now we've got autumn gales battering the country. Very, very, and this is what summer's been like all the way through. Very, very strange summer. I can't remember one quite as strange as this. I mean, last year was quite odd, really, but not to the extent that this summer has been. This summer has been a very, very strange summer, I have to say, and I can't remember a summer quite like it, really. So yeah, if you're out and about today, the winds are enough to be bringing down branches. They are enough to be bringing down trees. You know, so particularly with them being in full leaf at the moment. So if you're off out and about, particularly if you're sort of in wooded areas, then do take care because there will be trees being brought down with these winds today. I'm quite sure of that. So look after yourself if you're off out and about through the rest of this afternoon and this evening. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. Looking at London and our wet central today, the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for London. We're starting off pretty close to average at the moment. We're going to see the temperatures lowering a little bit through the weekend inside of next week. Now, mid next week, we do get a lift up in the temperature, but it's associated with another pretty deep area of low pressure, similar to what's happening today in some ways. And then after that, into the closing days of August, the final days of August into the beginning of September, we see the temperatures slipping away, and they go a little bit cooler than average then, until like further on into the first week of September, when they might start to warm up a bit. But of course, that's very extended range, and therefore really unreliable. So precipitation wise, not too much in the way of rainfall really over the weekend. There will be some showers around, but it's going to be quite a bit of weather, quite a bit of dry weather through the weekend, particularly for the east and the south, through this weekend into the start of next week. Through next week, it does look as though it's turning more and south, especially from around midweek onwards. Lots of precipitation spikes coming through there. And those rainfall spikes carry on then into the first week of September, looking rather unsettled, I have to say, through the first week of September. So yeah, it looks like we're going to have a bit of a mixed start to September. Again, it's extended range, so it's quite a long way off, but that's certainly how things seem to be shaping up at the moment. Temperature anomalies from the 21st of August to the 29th, round average, a little bit above average for England and Wales, a little bit below for Scotland and for Northern Ireland. Not a particularly big deviation either way. This does include today, which is quite a warm day. We didn't look at the temperatures from XC weather, but it is quite a warm day today. In fact, let's go back to them. Let's just have a very quick look at the temperatures. So yeah, we have actually got 25 degrees flashing away. So despite this really strong wind, really bizarrely, it's also very warm over on the eastern side of the country. We have got 25 flashing there at Lakenheath, 77 Fahrenheit. We're knocking on the door of 80 Fahrenheit with gale force winds. So it's a very, very strange day today. So back to the anomalies. So yes, that temperature anomaly is incorporating the warmth that we've got today. So as today is out of the way, I suspect we will probably see these actually going a little bit cooler than average for like the last week of August. The last week of August could actually be slightly below average. Precipitation anomalies from the 21st, 29th of August, overall a little bit wetter than average. So it looks pretty cool and unsettled, I have to say, in the week ahead. Look at this. This is from earthnullschool.net, showing today's wind flow chart. And just look at that. You don't get a much better a depiction of an area of low pressure as that. Big low pressure. Churning away there over Scotland and to the west of Scotland. Look at these very strong winds coming in across the North Atlantic into the UK on the southern side of that area of low pressure. That is a proper old what we used to term a dartboard low. Michael Fish would call that a dartboard low. It's a dartboard. And yeah, you can see how strong those winds are. Really windy today, and you would say that is a rather autumnal looking wind flow map today, with that big area of low pressure battering particularly England and Wales with very strong winds. Right, let's see how the UK Met is looking for Monday then. So on Monday, that low pressure's cleared up to Scandinavia. So the low pressure by Monday has gone up to, moving up towards Norway, and it's well away from us. We're not building in particularly high pressure, but pressure becoming a little bit higher. Excuse me. And yeah, so Monday might be quite dry, actually. Monday should be a dry start to next week. Still some showers around, but quite a bit of dry weather. But by Tuesday, the next low is developing out in the Atlantic. Look what happens with this one. Again, another dartboard right over top of the country. 90 millibars with that. So I don't think it's quite as low with the pressure as today's is, but nevertheless it's bringing another spell of very wet and windy weather with it through the middle part of next week. Not particularly inspiring chart for anybody who's got a holiday booked next week. That low pressure then clears the way to Denmark by Thursday next week. We start to try and raise the heights a little bit. However, we will be pulling in quite a cool north to northwesterly wind, and there is more low pressure downstream. Actually, there is more low pressure downstream There's one there. There's another one around Newfoundland. So yeah, it looks like it's shaping up to be pretty mixed, I have to say, for the end of August. This is how the GFS 6Z is looking. So again, just a little bit calmer as we go through the weekend into the beginning of next week, but not for long. This is Tuesday, with an area of low pressure deepening like mad just to the west of Ireland. That through Tuesday to Wednesday gives a spell of proper wet and windy weather. Tuesday could be a very grim day across many parts of the country. And then we move into second half of next week, and that low pressure clears off into Scandinavia. Heights are rising out to the north and the west. Winds are in from the north though, so it's going pretty cool there. Now, those north-northeast winds will bring in quite a few showers, particularly to northern and eastern parts of the country. Heading up towards day 10, same idea really. Got high pressure out to our west, low pressures to our east. We're pulling in the winds from a north to northeasterly direction. I mean, we wouldn't be talking about a washout of the bank holiday. This is bank holiday Monday, by the way, day 10, Monday the 31st of August. So we wouldn't be talking about a washout of the bank holiday weekend, but we would certainly be talking about a cool and showery and rather autumnal feeling bank holiday weekend, I think, with low temperatures both day and night, if nights are clear. Could actually be some unusually chilly nights if the skies are clear. Now into early September, we then start to move low pressure back in from off the Atlantic. So look at this, 2nd of September, deep area of low pressure over top of the country. That looks like an autumnal start to September. And then the GFS 6Z just keeps things cool and unsettled really right the way through to as far as we go, which is Sunday the 6th of September. So the opening week of September on this GFS run forecast to be cool with quite a bit of rain at times. GM looks like that. So again, trying to build up a little bit of a ridge on Monday. Should be a slightly quieter start to next week. But look at this low pressure. Very unusually deep area of low pressure whipping up there in the middle of the Atlantic like midnight on Tuesday. I'm not sure what the central pressure of that is. Let's see if we can work it out. So that's the 1000 millibar line there. That is the 995 millibar line there. That is the 990 millibar line. That one is going to be 985. That one will be 980. So that one will be 975. So at its core, this is a 970 millibar area of low pressure on the GEM on Tuesday. Very, 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 very deep area of low pressure. It will break records, I think, for the North Atlantic if it came off. It's unlikely to verify, but it's a very deep area of low pressure indeed. And it comes in a little bit later with the GEM compared to what GFS of UK Met was showing. But nevertheless, through mid of next week, it does bring in a spell of very wet and windy weather again. That then gets out of the way through the second half of next week, and we pull in these cool northerly winds with high pressure to our west, low pressure to our east. And then as we move up towards day 10, we start to try and reach this high pressure in from the west. So we try to set up an area of high pressure over Scandinavia, but we're pulling in the wind from like an east or northeast direction. Looking cool and showery for the bank holiday weekend, and not particularly inspiring weather. And then we've got the ECM WF as well. So again, we're looking at a slightly quieter day on Monday, ahead of the next area of low pressure developing on Tuesday. Wednesday, dartboard sat right over top of the country, so wet and windy through the middle part of next week. That low pressure gets out of the way to Denmark. By Thursday, we begin to raise heights, or try to raise heights out to the west, but still with like shallow low pressure meandering around, bringing further spells of rain. And it's not really until we move up towards day 10 that the ECM then starts to build in the ridge. Doesn't look like that ridge is going to last very long though. It's only a 2-day wonder, and by day 10, which is bank holiday Monday, the more low pressure is beginning to start heading in from off the Atlantic. So are we seeing the Atlantic starting to crank up here? Could we be seeing the Atlantic cranking up as we're moving into meteorological autumn and into September? Maybe a wet September on the way. We shall see. These are the, or this is the precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from Precipitation.com. So we know it's an unsettled day today. There's lots of showers around, strong winds too, showers and longer spells of rain really coming and going. And these unsettled conditions lasting to next week as well. Look at this massive rain that's coming in through the middle of next week. Look at that. That really is a very wet and windy day indeed through the middle of next week. That gets out of the way, but we're left with showery bursts again, another spell of rain coming across England and Wales there, like at the end of next week and into bank holiday weekend. Then winds turning to the north, it's turning drier, but it will be cool, and by day 10 we're starting to show low pressure and weather fronts and wet weather coming back in from off the Atlantic. So yeah, it's all happening there. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10 by the Icelandic Met Office. This gets us to the last day of August. We have 29 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure out to our north and northwest, high pressure to our west and southwest, the wind flow doing something like that. So a little bit drier on that option. It is quite cool, but it is drier for that. That includes the ECM control run. 22 members of the ECM ensembles, including the operational run. That's the run we've just been looking at in detail. Very unsettled for day 10, really, with low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. There's many of them. So uncertainty abounds, really. This is for the 5th of September. 15 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure to our east. High pressure is to the west. Winds are going to be in from the north, cool and showery. 13 with high pressure over and just to the east of the country and also slightly to the west. That's going to be a drier and perhaps slightly warmer option. That could be bringing up some quite warm air from the south. 10 with high pressure sort of over the top of the country. 8 just here with high pressure in the middle of the Atlantic. They'd be bringing cool northwesterly winds, but will probably be quite settled. And then 5 with low pressure to our south, and high pressure is to the north. Obviously, that's going to be a very unsettled option. Could even be like quite thundery, maybe quite wet. So there's several options on the table there in 2 weeks' time. So there is still a lot of uncertainty for the early part of September. And then finally, talking of September, this is how CFSV2 700 millibar high dominant is looking for September 2020 today. This changes every day. It has been changing a lot over recent days, actually. Today, CFS is forecasting an area of high pressure to be in the North Atlantic, moving up towards Greenland. And there's a trough of low pressure, shallow trough. The trough of low pressure is just to the east of the UK. That would mean that we pull in like a northerly flow through September. It would be a cool September on that scenario, potentially very cool actually, and maybe rather showery as well. I mean, the Atlantic is blocked off, so it's not a deluge month, but certainly cool and showery. If that verified. Temperature anomalies are sort of average. It's not really got a signal, but I would suspect a cooler than average September would be likely on that scenario. And precipitation anomalies, again, average hasn't got a signal, but I would expect a rather showery month is possible. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, has summer gone, really? Is summer gone? Are we not going to get, you know, very often we do think, particularly of early September, as being a time when summer will hang on, will hang around, and we have the old wise summer, which gives us a spell of hot, sometimes hot, often very warm and dry weather through the first week to 10 days of September. It's one of the regular sort of singularities of the weather that we tend to think about for early September. But this year, this is all a little bit different. Has summer gone? And certainly for early September anyway. We shall see. We shall see about that. Of course, it can still get very warm even into the second half of September. And October can even have a lot of really warm weather. So it is too early to say that summer has gone. But certainly this is looking like we could have quite a cool and showery start to September anyway. Right, so that's it for the videos for today. So we shall be back tomorrow with a 10 to 14 day video update. We're going to have another bank holiday weekend update, I think, tomorrow as well. We've got that penciled in, and we'll begin with weekend forecast. Sunday, so we've got the penultimate GavsWeatherVids Sunday roundup, as well as the last autumn update. Again, ever close to winter updates now, of course. And we'll also have the E7 Metro France and DWV long range update on Sunday as well. And we shall be live streaming on Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. So yeah, keep checking back to all of the updates. Keep checking back to the channel and to the website. And we'll see you with another video very soon. That's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.